Our guest today is a very versatile guy and a bit of a mystery. Now, is he a serious sort who happens to be very funny, or is he a funny fellow who takes his work very seriously? Sukant Goel has had the most interesting journey all the way from Muzaffarnagar to Mumbai. He's here today to talk to us all about it and more. Sukant, welcome to Unscripted with Akarsh Khurana. So, you're from Muzaffarnagar, is this correct?
It's correct.
And how long did you live there?
My parents are still there, my house, my home is there.
And your parents are both doctors?
They're both doctors.
Okay, so we'll come to that.
I was born actually in Meerut, in medical college, my parents' medical college.
Doctors,
I came very early, and then I was there, and I think somewhere when I was 6 years old or 5 years old, तब मैं वहीं लोकल स्कूल में नर्सरी प्ले ग्रुप वगैरह में था.
Oh, you had started?
मैं स्कूल जा रहा था बेसिकली, वो प्ले क्लास नर्सरी वगैरह. आई थिंक किस दिन मैं घर आया होऊंगा और मैंने कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग वर्ड्स यूज़ किए होंगे जो मुजफ्फरनगर की लेक्सिकॉन में है. एंड दैट्स व्हेन माय पेरेंट्स थॉट इसको भेजो यहाँ से बिकॉज वो यहाँ का बन जाएगा.
Lovely. Okay.
Yeah, so they worked like really hard and put me in some boarding school.
Nice.
In Meerut.
Okay.
And then halfway through it there were riots.
In
Meerut, Muzaffarnagar, the 1991
Okay.
90 riots. So school बंद हो गया था और हमारे हॉस्टल में ना ostrich भी थे. Like there was a zoo also in that school.
In
for some
Meerut.
reason in Meerut. It
There
was
were
called
ostriches in
there was ostriches. There were ostriches.
Oh, wow.
I really don't know why now when I think of it. It was fascinating that time. So then they just sent me to one boarding school after another, and I went to Dehradun for 10 years. Then from 7th to 10th I was in Doon school.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then something happened and I just went to DPS RK Puram after that for 11th and 12th.
Right.
So it was just a constant like boarding life, and then college also was in a hostel and all that.
Acting का चस्का कहाँ लगा?
I think बचपन से ही मतलब.
Because Vellum and Doon both are quite encouraging.
Yes, they are.
In terms of like the dramatics part
Yes,
of it. And
yes,
were you
they
a part of?
I was a part. I was a part of every school production in Vellum. In Doon school also I was, but then I had a bit of a fallout with our drama teacher head, and I don't think he ever took me in a play after that.
Nice. You want to get into the details of that?
Well.
Okay. Did you use some Muzaffarnagar language there?
No. Oh, but he used to cast aspersions on me for that. He used to like in openly in class say, ये मुजफ्फरनगर के गुंडे हैं, इनसे थोड़ा दूर रहिए वगैरह.
अच्छा.
But yeah, there was open slander.
In school, I'm assuming at no point of time was acting still on the cards as a profession.
No.
You were clear that this is a hobby, this is
Yeah.
something you enjoy.
Yeah.
And then you actually went ahead and did your engineering.
Yeah, I did.
From
Well, that time this college was called UDCT, University Department of Chemical Technology. It's in Matunga.
Okay.
In
You had moved to Bombay then.
I had moved to Bombay for college.
Right.
And now it's called Institute of Chemical Technology. It's hardcore chemical engineering.
And this is something you wanted to do.
No, I didn't know what I wanted to do.
But as in, why chemical engineering?
So it came down to choosing between medicine and engineering because that's all that was presented.
That was the two options.
Yeah, you couldn't take up an arts conversation at home.
Right.
And I realized that medicine I can't study that much. I don't enjoy studying for the sake of it.
Parents didn't want you to be a doctor, but becoming an actor or doing something in the arts was not a conversation you could have at that point of time.
No, not really, no. I mean, even if I could have a conversation, I didn't have enough to back it up with.
Right.
I didn't do my background research on it, and they'd get really scared. They're that way. They're not. No, don't do this. They just get scared, as middle
About
class
the
people do.
unpredictability of the, which is fair.
Yeah.
So how were the 4 years of engineering, and did you get to kind of do things you liked as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So-
I only did extracurriculars.
Okay.
The first year in college, we realized that, no cultural activities happen in this college, man. That's so sad. It's so hardcore chemical engineering. And, we used to go to IIT and check out Moodai and stuff. And like this activity should happen. Taxi walas in our locality didn't know our college ka name. And our college existed for 75 years. I mean, it's a major contributor in, PhDs and papers and in the industry. But nobody knew, and I used to feel bad about it.
Yeah, it wasn't positioned in that manner.
Yeah, we used to say Khalsa College चलो भाई, उसके सामने हमारा college, और Don Bosco चलो उसके बगल में हमारा college. So it feels
serious
really
college था ना, तो it was
बहुत serious stuff. And 20 acres in that place. It's not a small place.
Wow. Okay.
We had a huge campus, but didn't know. So it used to hurt me, and we said, okay, we'll start a cultural festival here. When we come in third year, because that's when you get your posts. And we did. We created a festival called Manzar. It exists even today.
Oh, wow. You started
Yeah.
So you have a legacy there, huh?
We do. That's all I was doing over there. Playing sport and, either organizing cultural activities or taking part in them. And then you know how friends are. They think you're amazing. You look
You
like this and
probably
you
are,
look like
but
that.
so yeah, so
So that's when, and being in Bombay,
my friends never said that to me, so it must be something about you. But so so yeah.
no, but then in somewhere around third year, it struck me that I have to give it a shot. I have to do it. And I told my dad, he said, don't be crazy. कुछ कर, थोड़ा जॉब कर ले, एक साल कुछ तो कर, ऐसे मत कर यार. Again, he got scared.
But you completed your engineering.
I completed my
and you did
engineering.
well in it.
I did well in it. I was
Despite
good in
running a
study.
festival for 2 years.
Yeah. Nearly got thrown out of college because I was bunking so many lectures.
Lovely. So how did you then get to that? How did you get to becoming an actor, telling your family? How did that work out?
The best thing that happened to me, I think, is that all the universities in the US rejected my application.
Nice. Okay.
And I think that stands as an exception in my college's history. I think I can say that safely. Nobody gets all rejections. So I took that as a sign.
Pretty special. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I also wrote like terrible statement of purposes.
nice.
They must have seen it. ये क्यों कर रहा है? इसको क्यों biochemical करना है? And then I thought that, okay, plan can be, which my dad agreed to, is that take up a job in Bombay and work as an amateur theatre actor.
By the
Stuff.
side, which is
Yeah.
how most of us began.
Yeah. Because I had applied to universities, I hadn't sat for jobs. But then, my HOD helped me and I got a job at L&T. But the day I was supposed to join them, I joined another company which my friend's brother was running. It was a mining company.
Okay.
Based out of Bombay, but they had mines in Africa. So I joined them. I mean, they were giving me good money. And I thought, okay, I'll do this for some time. I'll earn some money, build up some capital, and then leave everything and act. This amateur thing, I just felt like won't work for me. I don't think I can do that. And 25 days into the job in Bombay, he said, the boss came to me and said, Africa jaoge? I said, yeah, sure. Because I thought that I'd rather go to a third world country than go to any first world because I'll get stuck there. I'll never be able to come back. So I went to Africa. I was in Ivory Coast. It was a great life. I just wrote an email to my dad. I said, look, I've done what you asked me to do. And I want to give it a shot. I don't want to die thinking I didn't try. So I'm not asking you for anything. I just think I should do it. He said, okay, come back. We'll talk about it. Take a leave and come. Don't leave the job and come. So I came and I had a conversation with him. And he said, we're not surprised, but we are very scared. But you see how you want to go about it. And then I just came to Bombay. He said, do you know people there? I said, yeah, I know a friend who's learning makeup. I know a friend who's, Himani Shivpuri's son was my batchmate in Doon School. I mean, I didn't have really any hopes from anyone.
Right.
But I said, I'll do theatre because I feel that's what we know. Nowadays, people have phones and cameras and they seem to know things about lenses and being in front of any kind of camera.
Right.
But we thankfully are from that last generation who was on stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I said, okay, I just have to go on stage somehow. I have to find my way into theatre somehow. And I just picked up my bags, came here. I stayed with a friend in Vashi that time. And I learned about this theatre group, Ekjut. And I put money in my bag and I said, I'm going to join them. Because I heard they do workshop productions.
Right.
So I was, okay, production. It's an attractive thing. And I took my money and I was in a train to Andheri to go to Bhavan's.
Yes, that's where yeah.
It was my birthday, 1st of December. Wow. And I knew this girl who used to work in the Bombay office of my company.
Right.
And somebody told me that she's active in the Prithvi circle. Okay. So you talk to her.
Huh.
So I called her from, I think, Santa Cruz station. And I said, I want to do theatre. She said, I'm in a rehearsal right now. Come to Prithvi. So I just got down at Ville Parle instead of going to Bhavan's.
Right.
And I headed straight to Prithvi. And she said, come to this place, Prithvi House, this building. And I went up and there was a rehearsal going on. And I used to have long hair with like a choti and stuff. And I was sitting there. And they were rehearsing for Dubey's play. Dubey had written this play called Section 377.
Yes, of course, yeah.
And then when they finished rehearsal, she asked me, what do you want to do? I said, I want to do theatre. So what are you planning? I said, I'm planning to go and join Ekjut. She said, why don't you do Dubey's workshop? It's starting tomorrow. I said, who's Dubey?
Nice.
She said, okay, I'll make you meet him. He's sitting here. He's a senile old man. Don't ask questions, just answer his. I said, okay, I don't know who she's making me meet. But okay, I'll go with it. So she took me to this table, Piche Prithvi pe, and this old man was sitting there.
His table, yeah.
His table. And she said, Dubey ji, ye Sukant hai, isko theatre karna hai. And he looked up. He said, बाप के पास बहुत पैसा है क्या? I said, नहीं दुबे जी मेरे पास थोड़ा बहुत है. अच्छा सन साइन क्या है तुम्हारा? I said Sagittarius. Good. मेरे कई friends Sagittarius हैं. Sham Babu. I was like, I don't know who is Sham Babu, who is Dubey, who are these?
Nice.
He said अच्छा ठीक है वो एक he called Mukesh
Yes, of course.
and he said ये इसको एक पैसेज दो, ये जाओ घर पे 200 मरतबा आईने के सामने बोलना, कल आ जाना, एक भी कॉमा फुल स्टॉप इधर से उधर हुआ तो मत आना. So I took it. I said अच्छा सुनो और गूगल करना, जानते हो मैं कौन हूँ? कहा सत्यदेव दुबे. हाँ गूगल करना सत्यदेव दुबे.
हाँ.
अच्छा और सुनो एक और गूगल करना, पंडित सत्यदेव दुबे.
Nice.
That's it. And I went on the train. I learned the lines. I sat in front of my friends. I said it 500 times. I
That
came
monologue which he gives everybody.
back.
Yeah.
Everyone. And
And
I
you
just-
googled him.
And I googled both, and I was like, "This is the same. What's wrong with him?"
What's wrong with him is a very open-ended question.
I found out
yes,
though.
yeah,
Didn't
so-
I? In 20 days of
Yeah,
workshop,
yeah.
3 of us, and he declared on the first day of workshop, मैं पैसे नहीं लेता हूँ लेकिन इस बार ले रहा हूँ क्योंकि मैं फिल्म बना रहा हूँ.
Nice. So the first play you did in Bombay on a professional stage, I'm assuming, would be Section
377 at
377.
Prithvi
at Prithvi.
on a Monday.
On a Monday.
Free shows.
Ah.
Dubeji used to get that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And
yeah,
we
yeah.
did 3 back-to-back shows.
And how was that?
It's all hazy now. I mean, it's what 13 years ago, but I remember the darkness on stage and
Right.
behind it, and I remember the difference between the darkness and when the light came on. Apart from that, I don't remember much. Makaran sir came later to talk to us, and he said something like, "ये हो गया अब बहुत meaning निकालना है, आगे जाना है." And recently he saw a performance of Taking Sides, a play which I've done, and
Yeah.
and he was talking to me after it, and he was using such superlatives that I just went back to that moment when he was talking to us and saying, "ये हो गया अब आगे करना है." And I stopped listening to him for a moment. I couldn't believe this was happening.
That this is the the
So I saw-
journey.
a little circle came
Yeah.
around for me at that point of time.
Coming back to Section 377.
Yeah.
Which is 13 years ago.
Yeah.
So talk me through a little bit of the journey in theatre since then. Who you worked with, what you did, how did it grow to where you
Yeah.
are? So.
After that show, I know Dhanendra Kavde was watching it, and he talked to me and he said, "I'm doing a children's play. Would you like to do that?" And I met Gagan there.
Right.
Gagan was also doing it, and we struck a good, friendship, a relationship, and he was also directing something that time called P2, a children's play. Gagan was directing it.
I don't remember that. Okay.
Yeah, and I'd met him because one of my directors from Section 377 made me meet Gagan. That couldn't work out, but because of Kahani Lelo, which Dhanendra had directed, and we did only one show of that at Parel mein Damodar Hall.
Right.
So uske baad he introduced me to Trishla because Trishla was making Kumbh Katha.
Trishla Patel, you were part of Kumbh Katha?
I was, but I was playing some dholak or tabla and stuff.
I saw Kumbh Katha. Yeah. So.
He asked me that तू तबला बजाता है, तू करेगा क्या? And I was like, yeah, I'll just do anything right now. But I want to be on stage. I mean, I just want to perform. Anything. She said, yeah, because it's good. You'll meet people, Trishla, ye wo, people won't just give you roles immediately. I said, yeah, I understand that. So I played tabla, and we had this Ting Dang Dish department. Priyanka Basu, me, and Pooja Saroop.
Right.
So she was Ting, I was Ding, and Pooja was Dish. So 3 different instruments and whatever.
In Kumbh Katha?
In Kumbh Katha.
Okay.
And some walk-in parts, just, and singing. And very interestingly, Gagan was working extensively with Om Katare.
Okay.
At that time. He'd been working with him for 9 years.
Right.
And he was directing a play called Ravan Leela that time.
Yes, I've heard of that. Yes.
Yeah. And so they wanted an actor.
You acted in that.
act in
Yes.
that, yeah. So Gagan took me there on the pretext that I will not be exclusive to Omji's group. I will be allowed to work here and there because they needed an actor-singer. And I played that part and we had great fun creating it. I thought it was a fantastic script, and of course Gagan was brilliant as Ravan. And I learned so much about theatre singing, comic timing, doing that play. Each play, and I was very lucky then therefore to have worked with 3-4 people very quickly.
Right.
And at some point, I think the big shift came for me And all this while, to try and make money also, I was using theatre, because there'd be all these corporate projects
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
school projects. And I had wanted to work with Sunil Shanbag.
Yes.
I'd seen a couple of things, and actually that was the first play. We were rehearsing for Section 377, and we were told by Dubey to go to Prithvi, and they were doing their zero show of this play which Anand, Suvrat, Divya and Geetu were...
Dreams of Talim.
Dreams of Talim.
Dreams of Talim, yeah.
So jao zero show dekho. And I saw that zero show. I didn't understand it much. I understood some things, but there were some things that stayed with me.
Right.
And Sunil had done light design for Jal.
Right, yes.
So we had a very brief conversation then. And then he saw this play called Six Characters in Search of an Author, which we did with Trishla.
Yeah.
And then he asked Trishla, can I have a word with Sukant if you don't mind? And he called me to his office and he spoke to me about what that play is, Six Characters.
Yeah.
And I think I understood a few things and tried to get those things on stage. And then soon after he said, we're opening a new company called Tamasha. We're going to do small work and we're doing a new play, Marriageology. Would you like to be part of it?
Oh yes, Marriageology also I have seen, I think. Yes.
Yeah.
Huh.
So I said, yeah, sure. And I think there things changed like exponentially for me in terms of, a better understanding of script, of performance, of stage in general. And that, I think, working with Sunil has been like the biggest push in terms of, craft and its development for me.
Right.
At the same time, I was working with Rage a lot.
Yes,
The Bureaucrat, after Jal.
Correct.
And so that was fun because we traveled a lot with it. It was a fun play. I did some 9 characters I used to do in that show. And
The Bureaucrat was written on the basis of that short piece that was in One-on-One.
that's right.
Which I've acted in
That's
at some point of time. Yeah.
Anubhav had written that.
Yes, and I have somehow surprisingly never seen the full version of Bureaucrat. I haven't seen the full length play. That
I have a great Vicky Kaushal story in this one.
He was in it.
He was doing production in Bureaucrat.
Okay.
He's changed my clothes backstage.
Nice.
I always say this on film sets.
Yeah.
It's amazing when all these girls come and say, Vicky. I said, I have a great story. Come sit, I'll tell you.
So he was a production guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Rage happened for you. I remember you were doing stuff with Rage. Atul Kumar at some point of time. Or was that the Adyam play?
That was the Adyam play, Detective Nodogyara. We'd never even spoken before that.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, Gagan told Atul to call me for the audition. And
So Detective Nodogyara for Adyam was the first time that you worked with Atul?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then I've done a lot of work with him.
Yes.
I've even directed him in the lesson.
In the lesson, yeah.
In fact, that was very interesting because I wanted somebody for the professor's part.
Nice. And that is lesson the first thing you directed? No.
Independently, as a production, yes. I did a dramatic reading performed. So Sunil had done this thing at their old Tamasha space in Aramnagar.
Yes.
A residency.
Okay.
So we would get 10 days in their space to develop some work.
When did you kind of know that that was also something that you wanted to do?
I think surprisingly, it was around those some corporate shows that I started taking up. And I started directing those. And I really enjoyed it because I could get people to do what I want and just because I knew that I can do it. Somewhere that came, that understanding that, okay, I can do this, but it's more fun to see it happen and get people to do it in a way that I can imagine it. So it's not fun anymore for me to do it because I know I can do it. It's not arrogance. It's just, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
This gesture seems...
No. It's,
yeah.
No, I know what you're saying. I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's sometimes, it's when you start envisioning stuff and when you've done stuff, then it's like, yeah.
And I think it came from a very basic germ of affecting somebody else's performance. I really enjoy doing that.
Right.
I saw that even before I started directing, when I would talk to other actors and discuss their performance or what they can do to improve it.
I'm moving on to see, this is what happens when you don't hang in life, na?
Yeah.
Sari baat yahan ho jati hain
Yeah.
phir. I don't know if it's just me, and I said this right in the beginning, but I always had an impression that you were a really serious actor. I'll serious person as well, and serious actor. And I can see signs of that when we are talking. You are a serious actor. But I saw that and I was like, this guy's really funny. Like, this guy's like, and a kind of almost massy humor that I was not expecting at all. And then of course Nodogyara and stuff happens, which is again, but the comedy of Nodogyara is also, I don't want to say serious as the right word, but it is a disciplined comedy. There is a science to it. There is a craft to it.
Yeah.
And I can understand that completely, and I can understand the appeal for that.
Yeah.
But like something like that video was uninhibited, and it was like, wow, this is like a, which is a segue. But do you like being known as a serious actor? Is that who you are?
If the word serious is, in connotation of how I work, how I take my work, but
Are you an intense guy?
if it's limiting,
Are you an intense guy?
I'm an intense guy.
You are an intense
Yeah,
guy.
but that doesn't mean I'm a funny guy. Yeah.
Are you fun to be with?
I'm very fun to be.
Are you fun to rehearse with?
I'm very fun to rehearse with.
Are you fun to be directed
This is sounding
by?
like a sales pitch right
Are
now.
Are you fun to be directed by?
I think so.
Or are you like a hard guy?
Why don't you call the directors here and check with
No,
them?
the actors you've directed, I want to know. Are they shit scared of you? Yes.
I think I've evolved
You've grown.
in 3 plays.
like Gagan has.
No, I believe I'm fun. I believe I'm fun, and I can see that in the responses. What the hell is this? Okay. All the parts I play now, I look for where is the humor here? What are we laughing
Which
at?
you've actually done really well on screen. I mean, of course, on stage as well. But on screen, whatever I've seen, there is
Yeah.
this amazing kind of it's this comedy that you've got, which is a very everyman kind of comedy. Comedy from life itself. It's very like slice of life comedy, which is actually the kind of comedy that I love. I mean, like a lot of the content that I work on is very like, slice of life comedy. And that's something that you've cracked really well. And I remember, was Kapoor and Sons your first film?
It was technically Shaitan was first because Imran bhai called me one day and said, "ये picture मैं कर रहा हूँ, shoot कर रहे हैं वगैरह, आजा एक छोटा सा party जल्दी से आजा."
Imran Rashid, as he usually does, calls you and says, "Come
Yeah.
now."
I went and did some, and then nothing after that for a long time. This video happened, and then a lot of web stuff started happening. There was this comedy thing called there's this SIT, Shitty Ideas
Shitty
Trending.
Ideas Trending, yes.
So I did a lot of videos with them, which is all around
You
the
did a
comic space.
series with them as well.
I did a series with them as well. Yeah.
Right, I remember that.
Then I worked for a bit with Dice Media, with Pocket
Right,
Aces,
right.
some of their content. Then I had auditioned for Sandeep or Pinky Farrar.
Yes.
And I think in the script, the first thing that was written was the baby-faced manager sits across. I was like, okay. Hang on. Dubey had said they will cast you on your look. Then
Nice.
they'll see talent. I said,
Nice.
okay, baby-faced manager, this can happen, do this properly. And yeah, and we did both the scenes and auditions, and it happened, and I was working for something. We were actually, again, see, comedy is coming back, Akarsh. Rajit was training some stand-up comics for a stand-up comedy show. It was like a reality stand-up comedy show.
Rajju.
Yeah.
Rajju was training stand-up comic.
And we were called as theatre people to help them, deliver.
As we are often
called.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So when we used to tell them, and Gagan was there too, and we used to tell them, guys, don't worry, we are not here to do comedy with you guys. That's what you guys are good at, वगैरह. And I was committed to that, and Abhishek Banerjee called me saying, you're on for Sandeep or
For
Pinky.
Sandeep, Acha, that was casting day.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
okay.
clashing, and I said, no man, don't do that. He's like, bro, leave everything, do this. This kind of character doesn't come. Only Dibakar can be so mad to write something like this. Do it. I said, yeah. And then the shoot got postponed for like 3-4 months. My shoot.
Right.
I really wanted to go to, Pithoragarh and shoot in the mountains because I'm a mountain person. I've lived for so long in the mountains. But I shot in Bombay.
Oh, you didn't go to...
No, I didn't
okay.
go to Pithoragarh.
Nice.
Both my scenes happened in some office over here. But yeah, that happened. And then Dibakar called me for Ghost Stories.
Ghost Stories, of course. Yeah.
And
Anurag saw you in that. Kashyap.
Anurag says that he has seen some plays of mine. He met me at an award function for web content when Sacred Games had come out.
Right.
And I was nominated for some stuff, comedy,
Nice.
for SIT.
Okay.
Uh,
I'm changing my opinion of you right now as we...
oh, I'm shooting arrows at you.
That SIT show, you left because you didn't want to do that kind of comedy again and again.
Yeah.
I'm just fighting my case a little bit also.
Damn, you read this in some interview. Oh, yeah,
It
yeah,
was
yeah.
getting repetitive.
It was.
Yeah.
It
so,
was.
Right.
And they also threw me out. It was
Nice.
mutual.
Right.
The message came from
So-
them saying that we can't do it. But Anurag met me there and he said some very complimentary things. I said, what, how? And then Devana was working with him on something, and Devana came and told me that Anurag said, "Who's this guy, Sukant? I want to work with him."
Devina Kapoor?
Yeah.
Also a part of my life at
I
some
know,
point.
I know.
Yes,
That's why I
right.
didn't
So-
say the full name and all that. I just assumed you'd
so,
know.
Yeah.
And so I was waiting that what's going to happen? When will he call? And then they were going to shoot Dobara
Yes.
long before it got shot.
I'm aware of that. Yes.
Yeah. So I got a message from his office and all said, "You're doing this part if you were okay." I said, "Yeah." And we did everything, costume trials. The film was supposed to be shot in Mauritius,
I'm
then
aware.
in London,
Sunil Khetrapal, the producer, is a friend. Yes.
then in South Africa,
Yes.
then in Goa, and finally we shot it in Hinjewadi.
Correct. But it also, they were talking about Chembur. So Hinjewadi is better
Hinjewadi is better.
than Chembur.
For sure, because
yeah.
we could stay in a hotel at least.
Correct.
Chembur, I would have to come from home.
Yes. So,
That's also
Yeah.
part of my shoot life so far. I've shot in chawls, in live locations.
so yeah.
And incidentally, Vasan directed my first day on that shoot. And just before that, sometime before that, Vasan had asked me to do Monica, My Darling. So
nice,
I knew. But we worked on that one day. And
So, but also if you look at it now, there is this conversation out there among the people who haven't achieved as much as you, who look at you and say, "Yaar, ye Dibakar or Vasan or Kashyap ka darling ho gaya,"
ऐसा तो कुछ भी
which
नहीं
is
हुआ है.
great. But if you look at the profile of Dibakar and and Vasan and Kashyap, you also turned into that actor that is a. I'm not going to say the word serious again, but there is this. There's a sense of artistic achievement. There's a sense of that there's a. I mean, Kapoor and Sons was a nice commercial
Yeah.
kind of film,
Yeah.
and then you also, I think, found like this interesting niche. What is the attraction? Both sides.
Both sides, you mean?
Yeah, I mean, what is the attract? No, I mean, from your side and from their side. What is it that you give them that makes you their darling? And what is it that they give you that makes you gravitate towards that kind of filmmaker, not content?
Yeah.
The content is all, can be fun and certainly. But there is there is that little off the beaten track
Yeah.
vibe. So what is that? What is
I don't know what it is from them because I'm unable to see that in myself.
nice?
I'm an extremely self-doubting actor and person in general. Every day I need some friend to tell me that you're okay.
You're okay, bro. You're okay. Today that friend is me.
I asked another friend before coming here.
Oh, I
on
didn't need to say
message,
it. I
said-
didn't need to say it today.
I mean, but it's
So,
great that you're
okay,
saying
You're
it.
amazing. So, yeah.
You mentioned every man, that word.
Yes, yes.
So I guess, and it completely subverts the idea of why I came to this field because I wanted to be a hero, star, whatever. But then you look at all these false mirrors in your life, which are your friends' eyes.
Right.
And
Nice. That's a good line.
Yeah, and here the reality hits you, and it hit me beautifully, I think, through theatre. I mean, I would love to do all sorts of stuff, all the commercial stuff.
So-
Writing is key. It's just key, like to something that can attract me. It's the writing.
Yeah.
It has to be. It has to be. Like when auditions come to me and I look at it, and the tough choice for me is to tell myself that is this a good piece of writing
Do
or
you
not?
say no to a lot of auditions
I do say no to
on the basis of what's on the text that's come?
I do say it. I do say it. And people tell me you should do more work, work gets work. But I follow the gut a little more on that front. I don't think I'm in any race for any such thing, but I follow
And now
it.
that there's a significant amount of screen work that's happened, it's a question that everybody asks me in terms of directing. Do I like directing for screen or do I like directing for stage? And in that sense, actually, I always veto that question because they're two very different kind of approaches altogether.
Yes.
I mean, the binding factor is that I like working with actors. Put me in a room with them and I'm happy to do that. But the thing is, technically, they're two different, like,
Yeah.
it's different kettle of fish altogether.
Yeah.
Do you have a preference now in terms of camera and stage?
Oh yes, on stage I want to direct more and more.
Yes, I was going to ask that. Are you
Yeah.
enjoying that more now?
I really am.
Okay.
I really am. Like for instance, this Adyam play that we're going to do now.
Yes. Why don't you talk a little bit about that? What are you doing for Adyam?
We've been in conversation for the last few Adyam seasons where Shahnaz has suggested that I should, propose a play to direct.
Is this something you're producing?
Yeah.
And do you have a group which is called?
We've just opened a new group.
What is-
Rachel D'Souza, Dipankar Pai, and myself. We call it Three Parts Company. Three Parts Company is producing Betrayal. I had wanted to direct it. I was looking for play on relationships. Maybe that's what I'm thinking a lot about in my life right now.
And now you're not directing Betrayal anymore. You're
I'm not
acting
directing
in
it. I'm acting in it now.
Right.
Rachel is directing it.
Right. Why Betrayal? Why Pinter?
It's
Yeah.
a play about the life of three characters: Robert, his wife Emma, and his best friend Jerry, who are in this very insular world, and it's a vicious love triangle where these two friends love each other as friends, and Jerry's having an affair with Emma, which lasts for 7 years, and the play runs in reverse chronology. So you
Yes.
see these characters when they are about 40.
Right.
And slowly the information on them and their lives is revealed backwards until the moment of betrayal.
Right.
So when I read it, I found it incredibly funny in the way things were being revealed, but I could just sense that these people are not saying what they want to say.
Correct.
They're just so conflicted. They just won't say it, and that's the craft, because he tells you the information in the scene, and you expect, in the scene that have happened, when they come to you, why didn't they do this?
Right.
Why are they still choosing to not
Yeah,
do
it's
it?
also like an interesting kind of retrospective examination of choices.
Yes,
So, which also helped with the acting choices.
it
I
does.
suppose. So,
It
yeah.
does, and it was,
So-
and I could relate to it because we're doing this all the time, giving conflicted answers. Even between a husband and wife, there's so much politics in every conversation that we have. We choose to not say something. We hold
Right.
it back,
Yes, absolutely.
and we do it to protect something, whether this relationship or my ego or my friend.
Right.
But are we able to really protect it?
It's a lovely text. I remember reading it, and I mean, everyone finds Betrayal as
Yeah.
a play, as a very attractive
Yeah.
attempt.
It's
that
interesting.
you
He
wanna
doesn't call
make,
it cheating. He doesn't call it
Yeah.
adultery. He calls it betrayal.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful word.
Yeah.
And it loses its real meaning by the time you reach the end, because you know them so deeply
Correct.
that you don't want to blame any of them for what happened.
So, Sukant, we're now coming to what is expected to be the rapid fire section. I call it the slow burn because I'm not a very rapid kind of guy.
Me neither.
So, and one line answer तो नहीं समझ आते ना हम theatre वालों को.
And I tend to over-explain.
तो वो हाँ. Who or what, and this could be for your acting, it can be for your direction, and it can be from any field, are your inspirations?
I should have come prepared with this one.
No,
na?
this is अगर prepared होता
अच्छा.
फिर मजा नहीं आता ना.
This is the question that you have to think about and come.
नहीं
Oh,
नहीं
no,
है कोई
no,
mind
no.
में तो हम आगे बढ़ेंगे.
No. I'll say it. As a director, and I'll talk about also because how you look at plays or films changes.
Of course, absolutely.
So what you think was your inspiration was because of some things that you understood at that time.
Sure, but like where you currently are
Oh, okay.
in that space.
Okay. Because I've worked closely with Sapan,
Right.
and I kind of have access to some of her mind and her writings, I would never like to miss what she's
Sapan Saran.
Yeah,
Sapan
Sapan
Saran,
Saran.
who works with Tamasha.
Yeah,
And yes,
yeah. And of course with Sunil also, just because there's a lot of conversation here about, and now there's a lot of showmanship has entered our theatre big time. Sets and lighting and elements.
Are you talking about Adyam?
I'm talking about no, Adyam, of course, because it has allowed people to bring that in. I want to create work with writers who are
Nice.
writing now.
Nice.
So that inspires me.
And who's an actor or actress that you enjoy watching on the Indian stage front right
Yeah.
now? So
Gagan, of course.
Gagan Riar is fantastic.
Good performances come from various actors at various points.
Right.
There was this production of Don Juan recently, which Rehan had done.
Rehan did, yes, of course.
And there was some wonderful, Malika was so beautiful in that. And I've seen her journey from when she was 16, 17,
Yes, yes.
all the way till now.
Okay.
I mean, you inspire me, and I'm not saying this because I often say, how the hell does he find 50 hours in 24 hours to do all the things? How the hell does he do it? It's unbelievable.
I'm doing this podcast these days. I'm not doing anything else.
I mean, that's amazing. That you were doing a podcast also now. I mean, what will you do next? Swimming coaching? What are you going to do next?
I used to swim in school very well. But, okay, now this again is a slightly broad question in terms of, and this I wanted to know if there were any regrets, any missed opportunities, anything that you regretted doing, any opportunity you wish you hadn't missed out on. It could be film work, it could be, or it could be a project you agreed to, which you look back and say I shouldn't have done.
None.
None.
When I rationalize, absolutely none. I have had a few heartbreaks recently of this project should have happened and it didn't happen.
Right, right,
But it's not a regret in the sense that it happened without me.
right.
It's not happened or it's not coming out is a sense of great tragedy and disappointment to me right now.
Sure.
But absolutely no regrets about the journey at all.
Nice. That's a best piece of advice you ever received about acting.
I don't know. Dubey ji said once कि सेट पे जाओगे शूटिंग करने तो खाना अच्छे से खाना, एक्टिंग तो तुमसे करवा ही लेंगे. No, but
I mean, yeah, that's quite a gem in itself. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, the night before the premiere of a new play, which is going to come
yeah,
up for you now
Yeah.
soon. What are you thinking?
can't sleep.
You can't. Huh?
No, I can't sleep.
You're okay. You're
Cliche.
an anxious actor.
I'm
Or a
anxious to
director,
get on
or
to
so-
stage. I'm not anxious about the play.
Oh, you're anxious to make it happen.
I can't, like, the second bell is devastating. After the first bell should just be like, go on, just get it started.
Nice, nice.
I can't take that second bell and the third bell delay it eats me up. A lot of people say, forget about it, don't think. But I've realized that I have to think. That's what works for me. I can't let it be. Like my wife says, chodo, watch something, eat something, don't think about it. I've tried doing that doesn't work. So I indulge in thinking about it. I just keep indulging myself in that works for me.
Nice.
But it's harmful for other actors around because I can bother them, whereas they might want to be in their own space.
in their
and-
spaces.
Yeah. As a director also, I'm more anxious, I think, as a director than as an actor.
But again, are you there? Is the anxiety about just let's get it started, or is it about will it go well?
Yeah, I think it's more about will it go well as a director?
Right.
Will what I have tried to do happen, not happen?
Right.
Will that actor remember? And that's when Sunil told me, Sukant, keep your stakes low.
Nice.
So I'm trying that. It doesn't
Nice.
like
If you could bring one thing from Muzaffarnagar to Mumbai, what would it be?
one thing,
One thing from Muzaffarnagar. Language.
language.
Is that the bad language or the?
नहीं, वो जो एक लहजा है वहाँ पे बात करने का ना, जो एक मतलब जो सब राजा है ना, वो यहाँ पे सिंसियर है थोड़ा सा.
Have you got that in any of your performances? Have you been able to pick into that from the roots?
I haven't had to yet, but no, not really, not
But
really.
isn't that something you'd love to do?
I would love to do it. I would love to. I once wrote a script for a corporate play in the language that is spoken in Muzaffarnagar for some Mahindra Trucks ka event.
Right.
And I would love to do that. I would love to talk like that and now I've found a new love for that city. I used to not like being identified as being from Muzaffarnagar all through my school and
So
college.
what changed?
Just, I think I feel more connected to that as a person now. Maybe I was trying to fit in to the kind of people I had around me in school who came from a very different social class.
Sure.
And I used to lie that I used to say I'm from Delhi. I wouldn't say I'm from Muzaffarnagar. I would hide that. But now I wear it proudly. I want to go back home a lot more. I want to talk like that. I go to Muzaffarnagar and I start talking like that a lot more. I never used to talk like that. जिस तरह से बात करते हैं.
In film and theatre, any particular director who's on your wish list that you want to work with?
In theatre,
Yeah, or film and whatever.
I just had a taster with Mohit Takalkar recently.
Yes. Okay.
We did a reading. I want to do a full-fledged play with him.
Right.
To name one.
Right.
I mean, there's a gamut of people out there. In film, I haven't yet worked with a woman director.
Nice. Okay.
I would love to experience that.
Right.
Besides all the other people I want to work with,
Of
of course.
course.
But having said that, to also merge it with the question that you asked previously about Anurag, Dibakar,
Right.
Vasan.
Right.
I mean, these are people we idolize, and my friends were particularly happy because I worked with them because they love their movies.
Their
So
work. Yeah.
when they were narrating their films to me and asking me to be part of them, my mind was going to my friends. For a moment, I was like, is this really happening? Is Dibakar narrating a story to me?
Nice.
But I came out of it very quickly because it didn't happen in the first 5 years of my career. It's happened after 10 years.
Yeah. And my last question, easiest one. As an actor, what role are you the most proud of and why?
In theatre, I would say so far it would be taking sides.
Okay.
Um,
Why is that? Why taking sides?
because we were working with text with Atul.
Right.
So a lot of the process of the play involved us also as contributors to, I wouldn't say direction, but to make the play. And he allowed us to do that. How he wanted the character to be, to fit there, and also allow him to just be patient about working with text and not be just like ready to move and jump into physical work, etc. And just before doing taking sides, I was going through this thought where I didn't want to play any characters from Europe and stuff like that. I was like, no, I want to do Hindi plays, and just because I can speak English, I feel like a lot of people cast me in English plays because you don't get too many actors like that. You do, but for like proper English text. So I feel like even Sunil sir has used me so much in English, and I want to work with
But
him in
you're looking forward to doing more Hindi work.
more Hindi work
Okay.
also on stage. When I took up this play, I thought, yaar, फिर American, ये वो, क्यों कौन identify करेगा? But to go back to the basics of belief of what the character is saying and how to shape that and take it through the whole play, and it's not really about your performance. It's about getting the argument in front of the audience and investing them in it, where they literally have to take sides or are conflicted. To arrive at that with this play, I felt it was interesting. No theatrics, no singing, no music, no dancing, no clowning, but just using words. And not anybody coming to you and telling you, I didn't believe you were an American.
Right, because it didn't matter.
Yeah.
And on camera?
If I have to pick, I'd say ghost stories.
Right.
If I have to pick. But
Could you tell us a little bit about Ghost Stories and your part in that? And
Yeah,
that
so
people who haven't watched it will go and watch it.
So Ghost Stories is an anthology, and I worked in Dibakar Banerjee's segment. It's about a stranger who enters the village. He's called a stranger in the script, the man.
Yeah.
Enters a village, he's looking for something, but suddenly finds it completely desolate, barren, and only 2 children in it. And there's this bizarre situation where people have turned into monsters,
Nice.
and they're eating each other up. The stronger ones are eating the weaker ones.
Right.
And if you want to join them, that's fine. But if you don't want them to see you, there are certain rules you have to follow.
Okay.
So it was also a metaphorical, it was
Of course,
a take
yeah.
on,
Yeah.
things that were happening. So to be able to communicate the background of the story or the character and not see like, oh, who is this person? That question should not arrive in the audience while they're watching the story. That was fun to discover and execute, and to act with children.
Oh, yeah.
And to try and make that work. I think that was a beautiful experience.
But this was great. Thank you. And
Thank you.
it was actually
was.
just great actually hanging out with you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it was good to kind of learn so much. You had a very interesting life, more interesting than I knew of. And yeah, this was a really exciting chat.
It's
So,
ongoing. I didn't talk about our marriage at all.
Yeah, that's another podcast. But so okay, lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
It
Akash.
was
Thank
great
you
having
so
you here.
much. Yeah. Hey, I'm Sukant Goel, and I had a great time on the Adhyam podcast, Unscripted with Akarsh Khurana. You can stream it on Binge Pods, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to follow Adhyam on Instagram and YouTube for more updates about the podcast.